This is the time for empty courtesies. I'm here with Stephen Bruce to discuss his book, 500 Years After, in our ongoing discussion format. This is chapter the 10th, which treats of the meeting of a captain with a general, and of the various suspicions entertained by each. Hi, Steve.
Hi, we're going to have some lag tonight, I think. So how that will come out in the wash, I don't know. But very laggy on this Zoom thing.
Yeah.
The fun part of this chapter, I was remembering as I was writing it, is Kavrin's feelings as he met Adron exactly matched mine. It was just so much, oh, good, we're back. It's so nice to see you again, old buddy.
That's excellent. And slightly ominous, too.
Yeah.
You know, when
And
your adventurers are excited, it's maybe a little trepidatious.
Yep.
All right, well, Steve, someone asked for a thread of discussion topics, and so we gave them that, and people showed up.
Well, okay.
So, do you want to discuss those things?
Sure. If there's any that seem interesting to you, bring them up.
All right, well, let me give you this first one, and I think I know kind of part of the answer to that, but let's see what you say. I'm not going to read it because it's long, but I will try to summarize. Basically, and this is from John Shirk, he's talking about the concept of honor in this culture and for specific characters. He mentions in particular in this scene between Kavrin and Adron, he's struck by the frequent use of on my honor or a variation thereof, even when we know Kavrin isn't being truthful. The most glaring example was when he says, on my honor, I know nothing about it, referring to the emperor being vexed with Adron. And then he asks, what does honor mean to Kavrin?
Different things depending on context. That is another Dumas-ism. And it really is at times, such as he was using it there, it's swear to God, you know. And when somebody said, no, swear to God, I had no idea you were going to be here. Doesn't mean the person believes in God. You know, whereas a more formal declaration is, I swear to you on the, blah, 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 would be different. The whole question of honor in a society like this is itself fascinating. When it's not an empty courtesy, is that from the sort of that era of history, of real history that I'm copying from, honor was financial in motivation above all. You had to establish you were an honorable person so you could get credit.
Okay.
And so when so if someone challenged your honor, that's where dueling came from. If someone were to challenge your honor, if you were to show you were not the sort of person with honor, means you couldn't be trusted to pay back a debt, and it would hurt your credit. And this was a period, we're talking from the late 16th century to maybe the early century, somewhere in there, where finances were becoming more and more important, specific financial dealings,
Okay.
and credit was becoming huge. So there's the history that no one wanted to know.
Well,
The real answer to the question is it's a phrase, it's like, no, I swear to God, I swear to Christ, I never met her before. I did
Uh,
not have sex with that woman.
I also think that that very specific instance, I don't think Cobran is being untruthful there. I think when Adron says something along the lines of, and yet you know as well as I do that His Majesty was vexed with me, Cobran isn't saying I don't know anything about His Majesty being vexed. He's, he's bypassing that bit altogether and just continuing to state that no, I wasn't sent with a message because he wasn't.
Right. And that's also true in the earlier one where he says, all right, I am on my honor, I'm just here to visit you. No, he's here to get some information. But for the point Adron is driving at, he's being
Hmm.
truthful.
Right.
He's not here for the reason Adron suspects, and that
Hmm.
Kavran suspects Adron suspects.
Right. Because,
So it is
yeah.
really not true, but in reality it is true.
And, another point of honor when Adron first hears that he showed up alone and is assuming that he's there to arrest him, he I believe that he thinks something to himself along the lines of, he's here alone. How honorable. Or, he really trusts me.
Yep.
So,
She offered her honor. He honored her offer, and all the next night he was honor and offer. Okay, I
I
guess we can't edit that out, can we? So now I'm
no.
stuck with it.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
blame Adam Stumple because he's the one who first told me that. So
Uh-huh.
that's all his fault. Anyway,
He's not
let's
here
move
to
on.
defend himself. Don't you have a dog to blame this on?
No, I like blaming Adam when he isn't here to defend himself.
Well, let's move on to the next bit. Uh, okay, so, and this is from John Lincecum. We meet Marolin's elder brother, Mulric, in this chapter. The introduction is rather minor, but he's going to have more action later on. Did you have any conscious effort to draw similarities between Marolin and Mulric?
A little bit. I was playing with that a tiny bit. Not huge, but I was, maintaining that, in my head they're brothers. The
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing about that is chainman. The term he is the chainman. And that is such a classic case of how I work. Because I remember so clearly at the time coming up with a role and an explanation for it and ending up with the term chainman out of it. And it made perfect sense. And I have no memory of what it means now or how it got done. I just know that I did it time.
There is background there. It doesn't
There
exist
is background
anymore.
there, and
But,
I don't know what it is.
oh, I always just kind of assumed it was an analog for like Chamberlain.
Maybe, yeah, I think that's essentially, well, it's aide de camp,
Okay.
um, really. Or, I get, or maybe, maybe a staff officer somewhere in that range
Hmm. Yeah.
of things. Less formalized in that era. Well, it was just becoming formalized in that era, come to think of it. Anyway.
He seems to be sort of a Pepper Potts for Adron.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, without becoming a girlfriend. I've been rewatching the MCU. Don't mind me.
Okay. I bet we have too a little. Beth has been getting caught up on some things. She really, really loved Ant-Man.
Oh, Ant-Man is great. Ant-Man is great. The second
And
one also
yeah,
great. So.
and Endgame or something. Was it not Endgame? The one before
Infinity War.
uh, Infinity War. Yeah, made a lot more sense to her after. Now she went back and watched Civil War.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. You want to have that context for.
Right, because those things have to be done in order. Unlike my work, he said, dragging things back to the subject.
Right, right. Back to this subject, and we kind of have violated that with this whole video project as a whole by jumping into the second book of the series. So
Yeah, but it's a more fun book to talk about for me. I mean, the Phoenix Guards, all I would say every single episode would be, yeah, and I was giggling.
oh, and
Which
this
is,
was so
you
much
know,
fun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that, would get kind of old after the 9th or 10th chapter.
Oh, here's a question for you. From me to you, Adron, it starts playing with his Elder Sorcery Tinker Toy kit in his tent
Right.
here. Well,
A bit more
obviously
director said, but toy kit, sure, that works.
you just like to say erect.
Yeah,
Clearly this is going to be that episode.
I guess it is. And people will say, Jen, how did that episode go? And you'll shake your head and say, erect it.
Stop wrecking my question. Okay, so he's
Sorry,
playing.
go on.
So he's playing with his Lego set here. When you were
Right.
writing this, did you know what this was going to be used? I mean, you knew the overall thing, but how much did you know about this Elder Sorcery toy?
A fair bit. That was one of the things that is one of the things I did outline. I sort of constructed fairly carefully exactly how it is that it happened.
Okay.
And the details of it. And I went through all the things Vlad had been told by Sethra about how it happened and said, no, Parfy doesn't believe any of that. And then I just sort of said, fine, done, and went and constructed it this way. And so I had a pretty good idea of what that was doing.
So even though Parfy seems to respect and fear Sethra, as he should, he just totally doesn't believe her concept of how this happened.
Well, he don't think he got it from her. He got it from someone who got it from her, and he doesn't trust that person.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Oh, and then another question, which maybe I could ask later, but I thought of it now, so before I forget, what does the pattern look like?
I don't have that worked out.
Okay.
It's geometrical for whatever that's worth.
Okay,
but I don't know. Maybe some artist could construct it, but it's
I was just thinking, any fan artist could conceivably come up with canon at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, anything else about chapter 10?
Nope, I think that about does it. We're
All
about
right.
to get to the meeting of Kavrin with Erich and Tazendra, so that will be good.
Excellent. I look forward to that. And I will put up a chapter 11 discussion thread when I post this on the Book of Faces.
Perfect.
All right. We'll see you next time.